looking at Michigan's performance over the weekend, and they're one of
Yeah.
the teams that I think we can say is a consistent, complete football team. They were iffy in the first half against Indiana. It was kind of one of those slow rolling games. You're playing at noon again, and you got Penn State coming up the week after, and Indiana is always going to give you their best shot coming out the gates. And then the second half, they turn around, offense really clicking. Defense gave up 29 yards in the whole second half. They I think they might have had like 7 TFLs in the second half of that game.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, how have they built this defense to a place where you feel like they are as productive as they were a year ago with Aiden Hutchinson, second overall pick, David Ojabo, who'd have been a first rounder had he not gotten hurt, Dax Hill, who was a first round pick. Like, how are they doing this right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you talked about it kind of with your last answer when you talk about the body types and the frames that you have at places like Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, comparatively to everybody else in the conference. And when you do what I think Michigan did last year from an identity standpoint, defensively, offensively, and that's more of a scheme side of things. You, you may not know the names yet, but the people are going to step in and execute because everyone's pulling the chain in the same direction. And to me, that's kind of what you're seeing defensively. They had a great example set last year with some really big names and developed older talent. But again, the privilege you have at a place like Michigan and Ohio State is you get to rinse and repeat, replace, reload very, very quickly. I think they've done that. I think they put guys in positions to be successful. They fly around, they play sound, they know what they're doing, they know what they're being asked to do, and they know why they're being asked to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have all those things working for you, it's really hard to be beat when you have talent as well, and they do. So they've turned the switch. Offensively, I was. We'll get on that, but I want to hear your take on this as well.
Yeah, I mean, the defense to me, I agree with you got bodies you can roll back through. I think they shifted their mentality though, and this comes from years of building into being able to do this. But they basically said, "Listen, guys, like we don't have the get out of jail free card anymore with a couple of elite guys that can just bail us out when we need big plays. Like we are going to have to do this as a team. We are going to have to find the plays that we need to win." And their guys took that to heart, and they said, "All right, well, if that's how we really feel, and if it's not going to be just a couple of guys sitting there. We are going to actively pursue the plays that we need in order to be successful."
Right.
And so I think it's been a fun journey to watch and to look at the stat sheet and to say that they had, however many sacks they had in that game and they all came from different places. I think shows you that they have embraced the fact that it's going to be a true team defense this year. I also think that Jesse Minter in his first year as defensive coordinator has done a really good job of making adjustments. I think that he understands how to process information throughout the game flow to communicate with his players and then to essentially say, all right, this is what we got to do differently. And I don't know a lot of coordinators in their first year who make adjustments that well. So to me, that's a big part of it. Excited for this football team. You brought up their offense. Let you have the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought, and I said this before, I said this on the After Dark show on Saturday too. I just thought that like they put training wheels on this McCarthy kid in that first half, and they took him off in the second half, and he went out and played well. But to me, if you're going to make as drastic of a decision as that from an offensive standpoint at the most important position on the field, you need to just let the kid go and play, especially with the monsters you got coming down the pipe with Penn State this weekend, because he's going to need to make more plays than he made against Indiana, against a Penn State defense and a Penn State team, all the circumstances that are going into this game. He's going to need to make more plays by himself more consistently throughout the game. To me, that growth only happens in live fire situations. And when you're playing a team like Indiana, like I'd have let him roll from the beginning. And if it's up and down, it's up and down. You're still going to figure out a way to win that football game. but I just felt like it was very conservative in the first half. And then the second half, they took it off and let him go, took the training wheels off and let him go. And I think he needs that. And it's not a shot at the kid, really not even a shot at the coaching staff. I just think that they're trying to make a decision as to how they want to best protect him, protect their decision, and make it all look fine and dandy on the surface level. But for me, again, if you make a decision like that, I don't care how it looks. I make a decision with conviction, and I know the kid's talented, and I'm going to put him in situations that are going to challenge him, and I'm also going to put him in situations that are going to be high rates of success for him, right?
Yeah.
And then you grow. That's kind of just speaking from my personal experience, getting thrown into the fire at 18 years old. Like, my growth, the way it went, I don't think it would have gone the same way if O'Brien hadn't been so like, just go ahead, man. Like, don't dip your toe in the water, jump in that son of a gun and let it fly. And, just for JJ, I think that would be really refreshing. And if they back that up by play calling and how they put him in situations, I think that would be really good for him. Because he is such a dynamic player, such a dynamic athlete, a lot he can do. And I think he can really open that offense up for him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And it needs to be the full complement of JJ McCarthy. So you're opening his arm up, which we know the arm talent exists there. I think we are also opening this run game up too. I think a lot has been on the shoulders of Blake Corum, and he's done a really good job with it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a guy who is a true runner at quarterback, I don't know why you wouldn't add that extra element in there just to even open up the downhill run game a little bit more.
The other thing is it doesn't have to be that much either.
No, like a couple times a quarter.
5-6 times a game, right?
Yeah,
7 times a game.
Defenses are literally on their heels at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been my biggest thing with this Michigan offense is what their progression is truly going to be. And it seems like they are comfortable just like trudging along with their typical Michigan type game plan. It feels like vintage Harbaugh. But I think there's a lot more left in the tank.
We're dropping our merch.
We got to start calling Underwood Daddy Brad.
But I'm a big pod guy.
Breaking news. The Field of 68 has an online store, and it's your one-stop shop for the latest and greatest merch in college basketball and college football. You can find shirts to support your favorite team, make fun of your rival team, or boast Field of 68 catchphrases like Daddy Brad, Cussin' and Discussin', and the Star Heels. Go to www.fieldof68.shop today and enter promo code TOUCHDOWN for 20% off at checkout.